The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Monday, December 2nd, 2024, Season 20, Episode number 77. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. How was everybody's Thanksgiving?
2 words, Derek. Hook 'em.
There we go, baby. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. I haven't been that excited about a game since maybe 2005. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm nervous for you.
Oh, man. I was pretty nervous.
How'd you like that block punt?
There were so many moments in that game.
Do you sweat those games more than Cowboy games?
Yes. Not even close.
I'm the same way with LSU.
Not even close. Not even close.
Same way.
And part of it is this for me is very because I've worked in this profession. It feels like my motives are very different. Like,
Yeah.
and I've done it for so long now to where I just kind of like some of it I'm a little bit numb to. But my college, man, I wear that on my sleeve.
I mean,
It's
even with the
hard.
12-team playoff, the losses still do mean a lot more than the losses in the NFL.
No
so
doubt.
there's a lot more on the line week in and week out, I feel like, at least. But yeah, man.
It's going to be crazy how they decide this thing. It's 12 teams.
It's gonna be a lot of good games in that playoff. I'm
What's
looking
your
forward to
college
that.
team?
So I went to Texas and North Texas, so I just kind of rep both. If they were to ever play each other, I know what would happen, but I'd show up in green. So
So that means you're a North Texas guy.
yeah.
Okay,
In
that's
essence,
fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. As long as you don't say Texas A&M, then
You don't
No,
ask me who
absolutely.
I like.
No, absolutely.
You're wearing it. I know. I know.
What kind of
I go
favoritism
for
is
LSU,
that?
but
Okay.
my money goes to Texas, so I'm a Texas guy now.
How many
No. Yeah, it's tough.
No. How many days a week does Brian have LSU gear on?
Every day.
Yeah, at least 3 a week.
Yeah, I love LSU.
No doubt.
You should. It's a great school.
Hey man,
It's a
when
great
you
school.
send your money there, and by the way, I tell people this all the time. College is where you have some of the greatest memories of your
Oh, yeah.
life. If you do it right. Like
Yeah.
if you
Oh,
do
we
it,
did
if
right,
you do
yeah.
college right,
Yeah.
you should have some of the greatest memories of your life outside of probably marriage and kids. You should have some of the greatest memories of your life in college. So of course you're going to root hard for them.
Well, to your point, though, Bennett, my son, has been very fortunate. He's been went to Tuscaloosa, saw Texas win, and he was on his way to Michigan. He messed that up. He had it wired to go, and he messed up the ticket deal, or he'd have been there.
Yeah.
And then to watch a game at Kyle Field for them to win there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a little bit of a roll with the way Texas
Let's
is playing.
send him to the championship
Yep.
game.
He's got.
All right.
I will pay for it.
Well, he was going to get
go?
a hold of you.
Yeah.
He was going to get a hold of you because he has a ticket, but he's got a final on Friday and one on Monday, and I think he was going to try and get a hold of you, seeing if you wanted his ticket
Oh.
to Atlanta. It's the only one. It's the only ticket.
Yeah, see,
now
that's
you'd have
the hard
to
part.
hop on a plane and
See,
go.
my wife is also a Texas
I know
alum,
she is.
And anytime I go, she's kind of like, well, what about me?
Yeah.
I want to go
Yeah.
too.
Well, he's got a ticket, but he can't. He's got a final on Friday and one on Monday, and he said, "No, I can't make it." So
Yeah.
They'll be
I
back
said-
in
I-
Atlanta
he
in
goes,
a few weeks.
I sent him your contact information.
I thought you were saying he was going to call me so that I could call some of his professors to see if I could get,
No,
get that worked out.
no, he's
I was
good.
going to say I wasn't that great a student, so
No, I
don't know how that's gonna work.
He was thinking about somebody that really could use a ticket that would
Yeah.
really enjoy the game.
you know,
And
maybe Clarence Hill.
Yeah,
we
you never know.
He always
Yeah.
wants to.
Well, it's a Monday
show
night
up at
game.
games.
That's
Yeah.
why you maybe could pull it off.
Yeah,
because it's a
exactly.
Monday night game next week.
Exactly.
So, Southwest gets there.
I might know some people. Tell him to call me. I might
will.
know some
He's got
people
your number.
That might be interested.
Yeah.
But let's get to some Cowboys football. I actually had to, as I started doing my rundown for the show, I was having a hard time because I kept thinking, and I'm thinking of moments from that game, and I kept thinking of Texas moments. And so I had to kind of, in my mind, say, stop thinking Texas. Let's think Cowboys. Let's start first. What would you guys say is the story of this game going back to Thursday, Cowboys versus Giants?
DeMarvion Overshone. He was a game wrecker. Not only the pick six, but flying to the ball, being as active as he was. There's other bright spots to look at, but when I look at the story of the game, it was a DeMarvion Overshone day. That's going to be the game we look back on as something that really served as a launch pad for his entire career. I think he's playing at a Pro Bowl pace, in my opinion. I think this is a guy who is more than deserving of that. You look at the tackles he's accounting for. You look at the impact he makes not only in pass rush but also in coverage. He does a lot of things, and so I'm a big overshown guy, and I think this was the overshown game.
Zack Martin is highly overrated at right guard. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Dang.
2-0 without him.
Hey,
There's a conversation
Beam,
to be had.
mark
It's
that.
not that. It's not
Mark
that
that, Beam.
serious. I don't think it's
Brock
that serious.
Hoffman
But
should be the
man.
starting right guard. No. I will say this, though, that this offensive line, the Giants, we talked about it in the short time we got to visit about them, struggled to defend the run. Mm-hmm. And Rico Dowdle, they loaded up and got some quality runs. The offensive line, I thought, did a really nice job, especially dealing with their defensive tackles with Lawrence and stuff like that. So, give Brock Hoffman, once again, give Mike Solari and this group a lot of credit. That's a difficult front. That's where the Giants, their strength of their defense. It's those down linemen, and they did a pretty good job of holding up in protection wise, and then being able to run the football. And Rico Dowdle was very, very good in this football game. And so, tip of the cap to the offensive line, and Brock Hoffman once again filling in and getting the job done.
See, I wanted a lot of times to get really excited, but then remember, it is against the Giants. Like, it was against the Giants, but at the same time, it's still a professional football team.
Exactly,
so they're in the NFL for a reason too. Despite how bad their season is going, they're still all athletes. And it was very encouraging just to see some positive things that the offense was doing, the Cowboys offense. And you talk about Rico Dowdle, but in the running game, I know Derek has been asking and begging for them to run the ball, and we saw them being capable of doing that. When they do decide to commit to the run, they can get it moving. So positive things from the offense. As far as just improvement in general, and kind of seeing Cooper Rush become kind of the same quarterback that he was a couple of years. When was that? What year was that?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, when Dak was hurt. But also the defense, again, winning, and that energy is contagious, and you're just it's infectious, and everybody's going to bring their playing level up. You're looking at a team that is not looking to tank. The whole tanking theory and story, that was clear when you saw the Cowboys play against the Giants on Thanksgiving. Nobody here is looking to tank the season. They're going out there, playing and doing what they can do, the best that they can do with what they currently have.
Yep.
The only tank going on is Tank Lawrence potentially coming back next Monday, by the way.
I watched him. I was walking. I took a peek out the window as I was walking over here last week, and I saw him and Britt Brown going at it pretty good, and that was encouraging.
That could mean a lot of things.
Well, no, that was encouraging. He was actually.
Okay, Nick.
He was. We all go after Britt that way. But
I was talking about yelling. Jeez.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, he's
This is a daytime show.
he was. They were working hard, and and that was encouraging to me. In my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, this is getting serious over there. So, hopefully you can get that thing squared back up. That'd be very nice.
I have an apology to make.
What's that?
To Osa Odighizuwa. We were talking about it last week about guys who are on expiring contracts that should maybe be deserving of coming back next year. He played really well. He played really well.
Are you rethinking whether you want to spend that money?
I am rethinking that, especially considering how much you are going to have to fill this offseason. Bring him back.
Okay, you can only afford one. Him or Lewis.
Oh.
That should I save that for tomorrow's Tuesday's call?
Yeah,
Then go ahead and save it.
That's a good conversation. Because I have an answer, but I think that's a good conversation. I'd love to know others' opinions, and let's
I just saw
discuss
the
it.
pain in your face for a moment. By the way, there's like 3 teams I would love to be playing right now. Love to play the Saints.
Yeah.
Love to play the Falcons. Love to play the 49ers.
Yeah.
See, that just shows you now you're not great on offense right now, and that could be, but you're going the right way on defense.
Yeah.
You're going the right way with your pressure packages, playing the run defense. You get Tank back potentially. If you could play the Saints, the Falcons, and the 49ers again, that might be a different story. You're not going to – I don't think different story versus Baltimore or Philadelphia. But those are 3 games early in the year that are just going to probably haunt you.
Although I will tell you this, the one thing about Baltimore and the way the Cowboys came back in that game, Baltimore's had some issues with that.
It's all year.
And that's been an all-year thing. And if Dallas were playing right at that time, like their run defense particularly is playing now, I think that's a little bit of a different ballgame.
I'm only saying this because of the defense. I'm not saying this because of the offense.
Right, exactly.
And we're going to watch the Cincinnati tape this week, and we're going to be terrified of their offense.
Jesus.
Yeah, we're going to oh my gosh. But the one thing you have is your defense is playing better.
Yeah.
Your offense, it's coming down. You're having to score on pick sixes and kickoff returns. That's not going to be something you could travel with all the time. But, man, if you could play those 3 teams again with the way your defense is playing now or playing better, that I think those would be different outcomes.
Yep.
I really, really do.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the offense from this last game against the Giants. Rico Dowdle, in my opinion, really the first time all year has shown what I thought he really could be. You could say the game before this, they started seeing shades of it. Obviously got him to, it's 87 yards, I think he was total in that previous game. But this game, he runs 22 carries for 112 yards, a 5.1 average, a touchdown. It really felt like in this game they were committed to him. Now, there was a period, and I want to say it was third quarter.
They run it all the way down in 3 straight passes?
Yeah. There was like 3 different – there were 3 –
I stood up and yelled.
Yeah, there were.
Derek was hitting the table. He's like, what is going on? What are they doing?
3 different possessions.
Our end, I stood up and went and got something to drink. I said, enough. Everybody's looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, enough.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's working.
Yeah.
When you find something that's working, keep at it.
I'm not a coach.
Force them to stop you.
I'm not a coach. I'm sorry, I'm not a coach.
And so that did kind of anger me a little bit. But overall, they committed to the run well enough for him to have the yardage that he did. It was the first time in his career he surpassed 100 yards in a game.
Think about this. The guy had 200 yards in 5 games. It's not 5 games, in 5 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He back to back. You add it up. The number of carries. That's tough coming off that Commanders game. Tough game, running the football, physical game. The Giants, we mentioned, are struggling, but still, it's an NFL team, and you got to run the ball. Yeah. And he had 200 yards and really in 5 days apart. That shows you a lot about that kid and where he's at.
And Tony Pollard always said that the Commanders were the most physical challenge for him throughout the season. As a running back against a divisional opponent, and sure, they have some different personnel, but the personnel that they've added, physical guys too. You talk about Dorrance Armstrong and guys like that. So, it's impressive for Rico Dowdle. I think the big runs were something that was so healthy for this offense. It was him breaking off the 22-yarder and then backing it up with a 17-yarder directly after. He's being
like
patient.
The pass and the pass and the pass.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
That's what Derek's talking about.
And then you could, to that same point, the 3rd and 2, they needed the first down just to end the game, and they throw it to Cooks, and Cooks has to dive to catch it. And granted, great catch by Cooks at the end of the game. 9 times out of 10, guys aren't catching that ball, and then the Giants are going to get another possession. But
2 minutes left in the game.
At that point, there's a bigger conversation there. But I loved what Rico Dowdle did. I loved what Rico Dowdle did on Thursday. You know how pessimistic I've been about this run game throughout the season. I'm starting to get to a point with Dowdle now where I see opportunities for him for the future after a game like that. Obviously,
it's that Brock Hoffman, bro. I told you.
It is. It
should
sure
have
is.
Should have listened to me. I told you put Zack Martin on the bench. You'd be first. I didn't say that.
Say that when he comes on the fan.
What's that?
When Zach comes on the fan?
Oh, he doesn't
say that.
not anymore.
Last year.
Not
anymore because he's saying these things.
He didn't come on the fan anymore.
I give Eric. I used to give Eric Kendricks tips. Did you hear about this?
Oh God, Brian. One day when you did it, and you could tell he so wanted you to just stop, and you were not stopping. You were like, "I'm giving you this tip, like I'm going," and he was just like, "Please stop giving tips." It was hilarious. But no, you keep doing it.
I did stop giving him tips. It was a good tip though, but you know what? He wanted me to stop because he knew I was right. It was
and
something.
And the thing is, when you give the tip, if somebody from that opposing team happens to be listening, now they know, he's clued in on this tip. Maybe we ought to do something about this
so
tip.
it was like game related. It wasn't
game related.
It was game stuff.
Yeah.
Brian was basically
I was scouting him
he was
up.
scouting. Yeah, he was giving him a scouting report.
I was giving him a scout. I go, listen, when you see this, this is what's about to happen. And he goes, well, I watched the film, and I go, okay, but let me just tell you what I see.
And before Bryan even said it, when he said, I got a tip for you, and he was like, you know, whenever you see this, you could just hear in Eric's voice, like, stop right there. Please stop right there. Yeah. And Bryan just runs right into it. Like, here's when you see this guy, and he does this is what's coming. Yeah. But
Eric doesn't like to give. I mean, when you ask him about like schemes, he doesn't even want to talk about.
No, he doesn't.
So I end up asking him questions about, what kind of knives you use in the kitchen. You know, what kind of
Bryan's advanced scouting on it.
I'm advanced scouting on it.
He's a big car guy.
Yeah, he is a big car guy.
Hey, did you guys happen to see anything when it comes to Rico Dowdle? Did you see anything different that Dallas was doing with the run game, with maybe the kinds of plays they were using, the kinds of blocking schemes? Anything different that would point to why they saw a different result, or was it simply, we committed to it, and that's the result?
I wouldn't say this is a major thing that's helped, but it allowed one of those two big gains that I talked about. Jonathan Mingo is a really useful guy as far as getting some space outside. Yeah. You talk about receiver blockers.
Yeah. Can we throw him a good pass?
Yeah, that's
just
one.
One good pass?
One.
Yeah.
No, he can block.
Yeah, he definitely can block. Yeah.
He can certainly block, but it's helping the run game. It's obviously not the biggest contributor, but it's something that I noticed off rip.
Their tight ends are actually blocking. Mm-hmm. Spanford, Schoonmaker, those guys are actually getting they're getting combination blocks. Like Steele and Hoffman were doing a really good job of handling that, getting those down guys secured. But the point of attack tight end blocks have been better. Like Spanford has it's like all of a sudden it's all this playing time for him has made him like a little bit more like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to have to do this. Either that or they're not going to play me.
Well, that's what they saw in him. I mean, when they kept him, they thought he'd be a good blocker.
The things that have happened, the combination block, and we keep laughing about this. They do have a healthy body at right guard.
Yep.
A healthy body at right guard does make a difference. And then you get the combination of Hoffman and then Steele. We're doing stuff well together. Dowdle runs tough. Then you get point of attack, tight end blocking. That's helped. So yeah, it's been, to me, and there wasn't. Sometimes it's such predictability with this offense. The second down run, you're like, oh well, here comes the second down run. Here comes. He's kind of mixing and matching his runs a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And I think that's helping the situation as well.
Can I mention one thing about the running game or out of the break?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Ezekiel Elliott, at this point, 1 carry during the game. He only had 9 snaps in the entire day, season low. He didn't have any snaps in pass protection. Let's elevate Malik Davis. See what he's got. Let's see what you got going into the offseason. You haven't seen what the kid can do. Why not?
You couldn't get Cook on the roster. What are you trying to do?
Exactly. Yeah. He had his opportunity. Give Davis his opportunity. Let's see what they got.
So you're saying at this point, just what are you going to do with Cook? You're going to have to give him you say bring him up for a week. Is that what you're saying?
Davis, yeah.
He wants Davis over Cook.
Yeah, bring him up for a week, see what he's got.
I love how you think.
Why not?
We would actually get to see that.
Quit acting like a GM, all right?
We have completely forgotten that Malik Davis is on this roster.
I mean, we have kind of seen him, though. We know what he can do, though. I mean, we've seen him play. He's a good back. I don't know he's a great back. He's a good back.
He's a good back.
Just keep giving Rico Dowdle the carry.
I agree. Just stick with what you're doing.
I mean, what are you trying to do now?
Just give 5 carries to Malik Davis.
You just hate Rico, man.
I do not.
Let's go.
That's not the case.
He's working.
I think Rico can work in the future. Exactly. You need to save him for the future. Bring Malik Davis up. Bring Malik Davis up for a week.
So
let's
now
see what he's
saving people. Okay. All right. Let's take our first break. When we come back, I do want to talk about this offensive.
Sitting to my left.
Right. I do want to talk about this offensive line a little bit more. We'll dive in a little deeper, and I'm going to ask you guys the question: what's preferable, a healthy Brock Hoffman or a more injured Zack Martin? We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Uh-oh.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code /CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. This segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's talk about the offensive line. Thursday, they gave up 0 sacks. They had a 100-yard rusher. My question for you guys, and Brian, you mentioned it earlier. Brock Hoffman played at right guard in place of Zack Martin, who's been out injured. And I want to be really careful about this because I don't want anyone to take from this conversation that somehow it's like, oh, just discard the longtime great veteran who's headed for the Hall of Fame and Zack Martin. That is not what this conversation is about. This conversation is more about the tactical point of right now, the way Brock Hoffman is playing, and I think you said it during the break, Nick. He's allowed 1 pressure in the time that he's played. In the way that he's playing, compared to how Zack has been playing with all the injuries, which right now, again, that's not his fault, but he has a ton of injuries, and he's really trying to battle through it. But you can tell there's a marked difference between his normal play and the play that he's had this year. Which do you think is better for the success of this team, a healthy Brock Hoffman or an injured Zack Martin?
I'm going to take the names out of it and just look at the success. And I think Brock Hoffman is having more success. And you look at not only pass protection, he's only allowed 1 pressure all season and 183 snaps. You look at the run game and what they've been able to generate in the run game these last 2 games. You see the lanes that they've been able to open up in the middle of the offensive line. I credit Brock Hoffman a lot to that. Obviously, Cooper Beebe and Tyler Smith as well. But if I'm looking at results, I see a lot different results with Brock Hoffman.
And now also, let's put it into this equation. Mm-hmm. This has been over the last 2 weeks against opponents, specifically this last week, against an opponent like the Giants that is a lesser opponent than maybe some that Zack has had to face.
Their best player plays defensive tackle.
Yeah, but he was gone at what point?
Yeah, well, at the elbow.
Yeah, he went down, third quarter?
I think it was late third.
He was possible defensive player of the year. That's
they double team that dude 65% of the time when you watch him play. I mean, Dallas's plan in the first time these 2 teams met was not to they double teamed him every pass rush. They were not going to let him win.
Yeah,
he did.
And he didn't win. It'll be interesting now because basically what you've done is you've bought Zack Martin. What now? 3 weeks? Would that be how you look at this? Right? If you count out the days of the games he's missed. How many?
I see what you're saying.
So he's missed 2 games.
How much time he's had?
But the 2 games were 5 days apart.
Yeah.
So you missed the 2 games. So you're really looking at that week and then another week, and now they're going to have a week to get ready for this. So it's and then a Monday night, right? Is that 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
is that enough time to get everything kind of in line again for a push for Zack Martin? Or do you – this sounds so bad. Do you just keep rolling because you're rolling on offense? I mean, I say rolling. You've had a positive running game against the Commanders.
Yep.
Positive running game. We've talked about the Giants. Seems like that in the Commanders game, they threw the ball. The protection was good enough. The Giants game, the protection was good enough. Do you just keep it rolling? Do you just tell Zack Martin that we're going to keep going with this, and do you rotate him back in? How do you
just tell him, like, we're going to let you keep getting better? Because my assumption with all
That's
the injuries,
what I'm saying.
In 3 weeks, maybe he can't be 100%. So we just want you to keep getting better, and we'll wait that out.
I'm looking forward to watching Cincinnati, and they have McKinley Jackson. They have Chris Jenkins. They have these rookie defensive tackles, B.J. Hill. They've got all these guys. Sheldon Rankins, who they got from Houston, he's hurt. So, I mean, I don't know what their defensive tackle situation is like. It might be where you can once again play with Brock Hoffman, and now you give Zack Martin a full 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you're getting in, and heck, then you have Carolina the following week.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just do you save Zack Martin for Philadelphia and the Commanders? I mean, but what if you keep winning? What if you keep winning? What if you do beat Cincinnati? And then what do you do? Now you beat Carolina, you're back to 500.
It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think you'd want to have Zack Martin in there playing, right? But if your offense is playing better running the football and the pass protection stuff is better, does Zack Martin become just a backup guy? God, I think I never say that.
Well, I like what Nick did. Like, if you do the whole unbiased opinion and take the name out of it and just look at the plays,
the position, they're playing better.
That's what you should rely on. And again, there's no way that Zack is back to feeling 100% right now. I mean, there's always a way, but it's one of those scenarios that you want to keep seeing what you have in Brock Hoffman and give him the chance. It's going well so far, but also you want to protect the health of your.
Okay, I got one for you, AG. 72% Zack Martin better than Brock Hoffman.
So specific.
I know, 72%. Not 73.
Not 70.
It depends on where we're currently at in the season.
I was about to say, you just killed the Tuesday question.
It depends on where we're at in the season, I feel like.
You're trying to win games. I mean, you've got to win. You really can't lose games.
Yeah, if you have a shot at the playoffs start today.
Yeah, every game you play is a playoff game.
Yeah.
Every game you play is a playoff game. So, ask you then.
He's my emergency guy. Hey, Zack.
Oh, gosh.
Man.
Look where we've come.
That is your emergency.
Because I want him to keep getting healthy. And worst case scenario, hey, Zack, come back. We need you.
This might be his last campaign, you know?
Yeah.
We're going to have the black SUVs take us away when we walk out of this podcast studio. It's going to get bad. I would go with Brock Hoffman in that equation.
A 72% Zack Martin,
100%
not better
Brock
not better than
100% Brock Hoffman at this point in time.
Give me the 72% Zack. Now, if you'd have gone to 69%, I would have changed. 72%, I'm taking.
That's passing.
I'm taking Zack. Yeah, exactly. I'm taking Zack.
I just want what's better for Zack. I care so much about him.
No,
but it's a tough situation.
This is the. Okay, is this the same situation they went through with Romo and Dak in 2016?
I think it's a little different just because of the position. I do think the position colors it a little different.
It's a lot different there.
Different?
I think there is a comparison you can make. I just need to think of one off the top of my head.
Well, that's an easier switch, you know, versus you deciding.
Man, there were people that wanted they wanted Tony back in there.
Yeah.
No, that was a hard decision, I think, for the organization.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's very different.
Yeah, but
I think there were some people that did want him back in.
Yeah, when do you not play Zack Martin?
Yeah.
I mean, do you just because things are rolling along? I mean, at least through 2 games.
But let's also, I think part of the thing is
you look better.
The situation back then, the results were so spectacular that year.
Like you beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. You beat
you were just doing some things that year that just felt like, man, this team is really rolling in a way that they haven't really rolled in a while. And from the standpoint of just the excitement that it built. And you have to factor that in when you think about the locker room. Like, there's more that could go wrong with replacing Dak with Romo than with staying the course, is the way I look at it. Yeah. And so I think it made sense. And so, but I think that was so different than this. Like, this season has been, in most people's estimations, a disappointment.
It has been, yeah.
So from that standpoint, I think it's a little bit of a different equation of, well, yeah, you could trade him back in or not trade him back in. If you put Zach back in, is it going to make that big of a difference where now they aren't going to make this improbable run? I don't know that you could make that argument. So I think it's a little bit different from that standpoint.
Yeah, I don't see it the same as Dak and Romo, if that's the question.
Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah, I don't see it as the same. I don't see it as the same at all.
Not at all.
Not at all?
No.
But I see where you're going with it. I'm trying to think of like a more similar comparison.
You're talking about like you're like a okay, I'm just going to say this in a nice way, a journeyman right guard who's played really well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is he better than playing with a Hall of Fame guard who is dealing with a lot of injuries?
See, this is also
Did I make it sound really dire then?
You did.
Yeah.
This is also where, you factor in the human element. So let's say, for example, if you're playing, I don't want to get too crazy, but if you're playing Madden.
Oh, we're already crazy.
If you're playing Madden and you got two players like this, then you just take the player that has played better. Yeah. Whatever player is playing better, that's the player you take. Yeah. When you're dealing with humans, though, there's this element of, man, I've seen Zach be dominant.
But we've also seen him struggle, and that's because he's really, I think, banged up.
Right, I get that. But what I'm saying is, I think for the coaches, after giving him, let's say, 3 weeks to get healthy, if he comes to you and says, Coach, I'm good. Yeah. Like, I can go.
You got to believe him.
You're going to believe him.
Right.
And by the way, he's earned that.
Right.
And so this is not just a easy decision of this guy's playing better, this guy was not playing well. There's a human factor in it, and the human factor means that this guy that wasn't playing as well, because you trust him because of the history he has, if he says he can go, you're going to throw him out there no matter what.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I don't see Zach being the type of person that would come in here and like throw a fit and be like, if he's not ready, if he's not ready, and he's a true professional, and he's not naive or blind. He can see everything and like know exactly what's happening. And I don't think he would be one that if he's not ready just because of pride, he would try to throw a fit over there and argue like, no, put me out there. Now, Romo, again, different personalities, different scenarios that could have gone differently.
What you trying to say?
I'm not trying to say nothing, but I'm saying
you walked right into that one.
Yes, you did. All right,
I'm just saying it's just
bygones.
It's a different scenario here. I think Zach, and I agree with you, if he would be like, hey, I feel good, I feel ready, there's no reason why not to listen to him and be like,
okay,
yes.
You don't even think about it. You put
I'm
it back
throw
out
something really bad. What if this was a 4-game winning streak?
What you got going with Zach?
No, nothing. I'm just I'm with you. I'm
honestly,
just asking. I'm just seeing how committed you are.
My evaluation is still the same. It's a 4-game win streak because it's a 4-game win streak. Then I'm like, well, Zach's had now 5 weeks?
Yeah.
To get healthy.
Yeah.
You give me a healthy Zack Martin, I'm taking him over anybody on this offensive line other than maybe Tyler Smith.
You're putting Tank back in there over Golston, right?
Yes.
Yes.
When he's healthy, I'm putting him back in there because of the history.
Come on, Bryan.
I trust the history.
I'm just asking.
Just asking.
I mean, the last time we saw him on the field, he was still a really good player. The last time we saw Zach healthy, he was still a really good player.
Yeah.
So I
don't know if we've seen Zach healthy all year.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Last time we saw him healthy was last season, and last season he was a really good player.
Yeah.
So
it's tough to have this conversation.
Watch him not be able to run the ball this week, and you guys are going to be screaming at your end of the press
box. Come save us.
Yeah. What are we doing? Put Hoffman back in there. What are we doing?
All right, here we go. Let's take our final break. We'll come back. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterback. It took us till the third segment to get to it, but we'll assess Cooper Rush's play here in this last game. We'll do that when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We are in the final segment of the break live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's talk about Cooper Rush. He was 21 of 36, 58% completion rate, 195 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 82.5 rating. By all accounts, a very solid day. Nothing crazy bad. How would you assess his play from that game?
This looked like the 2022 Cooper Rush because he had a running game. He didn't try to do too much. He was calculated. He didn't force anything, and he had a healthy running game to help support that, and it looked like a 2022 offense in that sense.
Yeah, the ball's just not going down the field, though, very much, right? I mean, everything is kind of, but when Cooper Rush doesn't turn over the ball, they have a chance to win. When he does, they're going to lose. It's just the way it is. So you still kind of, you're kind of looking for a little bit more. That's my worry about some of these games that you're going to have to try and win going down the stretch here.
Philly.
Yeah, Philly.
Maybe Cincinnati.
Since Tampa, that guy, Baker Mayfield, the way he plays. I mean, if you're going to really be in this thing, you're going to have to go win those games. And can Cooper Rush generate enough offense? If he doesn't turn the ball over, you got a chance. But, if you look at all the metrics and all that, he's near the bottom in most every metrics there is for a quarterback. So, Dallas's defense, their special teams, that's going to be a big calling card. Their ability to run the football, but you're going to have to play great defense and hope like hell that he could find some offense somewhere, that CeeDee Lamb can get going, and maybe they found something with Turpin, getting him more involved, getting him down the field. But we'll see how that all plays out. I have my doubts because I think Cooper Rush is who Cooper Rush is. There's not going to be anything spectacular. And, you're going in all these games likely being the quarterback that you're playing against is probably the better quarterback on the field.
So is a healthy Trey Lance better than a banged-up Cooper Rush?
I have my feelings about how to win these football games.
Yeah.
And I think late in the year, I think it would be really difficult for an NFL defense to have to get ready to play against Trey Lance running the football.
I agree.
I think you can. I think you can scheme, and there's going to be some games where you're gonna if you think you're going to shoot out, and you might have to shoot out. I shouldn't use that term, but you're going to have to play at a very
Outscore.
high. Yeah, you're going to have to play at a very high level to beat Cincinnati because of their offense.
Yep.
They're going to put Dallas's defense is going to have their hands full, but on defense, but they're playing better. They're capable of playing really well, but we keep going back to how many 3-and-outs you're going to have, how many missed opportunities are you going to have in the red zone,
Yep.
how many times you're going to get down there, 1st and 8, and have to kick a field goal.
Yes. I'm glad you brought up red zone, and I know it's a much different situation, but you look at what Texas did in College Station on Saturday.
Yep.
My days are all messed up. When they bring in Arch Manning in the red zone.
They had a specific package for him in the red zone, and it was perfect.
It worked
was perfectly well done.
And when Dallas has these red zone issues, why not integrate Trey Lance?
Right.
It's an
we don't like copying. We don't like to copy what works.
That's how I got through college.
Speaking of college, young people out there, cover your ears.
You did that.
Mr. Broaddus, why are you wearing a hat today? You never wear a hat.
But see, that's the point. You're still seeing. You're still seeing the same issues that you had with Dak in there.
Sure.
It's still the same. None of those problems that you were having offensively have improved whatsoever. It does help when you create that balanced offense, like you guys mentioned, having that running game. But as soon as a defense is able to take that running game that recently started to reappear, I don't think you can do enough because you haven't shown that you can offensively. And Cooper, he can have some good throws, but then there's a bunch that are just very close, and you're like, why did you throw the ball right there? And I mentioned Mingo earlier. I think he had, I don't know how many, but there were several missed opportunities there that had the ball been thrown just a little bit better, he would have caught that.
I know the one thing about Trey Lance, his arm is stronger than what.
For sure.
I mean, you watch him throw, and sure, it could go all over the place. It could go to the other team, But
so why do you guys think is the reason why we haven't actually seen more of Trey Lance?
Because Cooper Rush has proven he can win games and not mess it up.
And let's be clear, I'm not saying I necessarily want to see more of Trey Lance. I just want to see I want to see some designed.
Yeah.
Like when they've brought him in these last 2 games, it almost felt like it was just kind of the cursory thing. Let's get Trey in there, give him some reps.
Like they didn't have a purpose.
Yeah, it felt like a preseason game where you kind of just want to see, instead of, like you said, with the Texas game, it was clear they had a package. When we get to the red zone, we're going to pull this out, and we're going to try these things that's going to give the defense something different than what we've necessarily shown, and we're going to take advantage of this player's specific skills. That's what I want to see. I want to see them try something in a specific moment in games where there's a big opportunity to be able to take advantage of something because of this player's unique skills, and then give them a play that's unique to their skills.
Yeah.
So it's not more. It's not more. It's just how
by
you do
more, I mean exactly what you said.
Okay, good. We're on the same.
More, but in a better way with the purpose. Because just like you said, the times that we have seen him in there, you're like, what? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. It just seems like you're just throwing him out there just for the fun of it. You really don't have a true plan behind it or a design play that plays into his abilities, like you said. And I think that's where they could get so creative and just have the best of both things. Use Trey Lance and then Cooper Rush with what he can do.
Now, in all fair, go ahead.
I'll say you don't want to see Trey Lance start these games.
No.
You don't.
I think Cooper still gives you the best chance to win.
I mean, we saw some of that in the preseason.
Absolutely.
I think Cooper still gives you the best chance to win. I think that Trey Lance right now is, and I don't want this to sound like a bad term because I think it's a good term, he's a gadget player right now. He's a guy that you can pull out, and he has some really unique skills that if you use them the right way, you can throw something at teams that they're just not, they haven't prepared for in the way that they've prepared for Cooper Rush, and you can take advantage of it if you do it well.
See, it's funny. I just looked up some just because I was curious. They call this like the identity check, on Next Gen. You ever see that, Derek? Identity check.
Yep.
I say no need to blitz Cooper Rush. His 5.3 yards per attempt versus 4 or fewer rushers is the second fewest in the NFL.
Yeah, so he's just intentionally very conservative.
He's very conservative the way that he plays football.
Reminds me of Brandon Whedon when he was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're kind of sitting there like going, okay, well, thank God you got Overshown and Parsons and Bland and all these guys back, because if you're sitting there, you're just, if you're a passer and you're 5.3 yards an attempt and not even against the blitz, just 4-man rush, that's asking way too much of your team right there.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a little game from Bryan. We'll look at some big picture.
I used half my questions
topics and get through that one tomorrow. Till then, from Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!